All right, folks, welcome on back here this Monday afternoon, this October 4th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And at this time of the day, as always, welcome on back for our afternoon meeting. I believe we are good to go live across YouTube only. We got a small Facebook issue. Actually, a bunch of websites are down. Like Facebook was down, Instagram was down. What else was down? I had this whole picture here set up about like 7, 8 major name brand, companies, websites. At least, I don't know if it was a hack or whatnot, but obviously a big issue where they're all down temporarily. But I know that we're good to go on YouTube. WhatsApp, that was the one as well, Patrick. Well, what is up to all of us live inside the trading room as well? We got Jeffrey, Patrick, Norman, Stefan, Phil, and great to see Pat. Whoa, Pat L, one of our longtime members inside our live trading room, joining us, I believe, today on YouTube. Welcome on back, Pat. He says Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. Indeed, those were the three, and then a few others on top. But nonetheless, great to have all of us. Otherwise, let's hop right into the thick of things. There's a lot to talk about today because hey, just a few websites being down. Thankfully, not CTU, but we ended up having a really good day today. Really good market open, and a couple of nice trades that I'm in right now. Personally, I was calling out for all of us live inside the trading room, at least as they were going down. Actually, no pun intended with that. But the VTNR to begin, we'll go right from top to bottom, though, really, and we'll kind of recap those that ended up making big moves just in a moment. But VTNR to begin, it's up 8+% on the screen here. It was at the highs just before, although kind of making lower highs the last, 5-10 minutes, pulling back down to 615. It's a stock that we're pretty familiar with, and I guess this could be the theme of the day. This stock is shortable. So if it ends up crapping back down the other way, going completely like reverse from this point forward, then it would be a pretty interesting short opportunity. So with that in mind, easily we'll put this on our list. But, for right now, I would just respect the trend up before anything, right? Just because I say that's a possibility of it dropping off and it being a short, that's not necessarily my full intent right out the gate here on this trade. So let's see if this stock could begin to find some support from here, then look to bounce back up, and then we'll kind of react to it all. All right. All right. So, like I said, let's go from top to bottom. The ZENE trade, got a chat back from Gene here live inside the room. We got Zine. Nice push back up right now. I mean, hey, this stock's like a roller coaster. So, listen, I'll put it on our watch list just given the volatility, given this move back up right now. 30 was a key level earlier today, and then otherwise 31. Not even 50-cent levels, but dollar levels are more likely to be much stronger points of support resistance here for you heading into the market close. So 31 was actually a nice complementary level to 30, at least earlier today. And, with this pushing back up, I would expect for it to hold around there, at least initially. And then if it ends up making another pop back up, breakout again, then look for it to make a higher high. All right, so the ESBK trade, as we kind of just like go through this one just right away, too little volume. I should have realized that pretty quickly. MXC, I think we ended up trading this one like back in the day, or at least a little while ago. Ended up making a nice pop a little bit later on into the morning. Ended up popping from 12 up to 17 nearly. And for right now, trying to make its way back up there here. The issue on this stock is pretty similar issue that we have on the ZENE trade, XENE trade. ZNE. My trader's dyslexia is kicking in. So for anyone realizing that like earlier, I apologize. But yeah, XENE trade. I was saying ZENE trade. But nonetheless, the MXC stock, pretty similar for right now, where it has very thin volume on the book. I'm not really as particular about trading the stock so far. If it ends up making a stronger push up by the end of this meeting, then we'll come back to it. All right, so the Arix stock. This was one from earlier today that we ended up finding we ended up finding this one pretty early on, and then from that point, it was hard for us to take our eyes off it. Ended up making a nice push earlier today as it broke over 2. There was no looking back from that point. Ended up topping off initially around 230, rebroke higher a little bit later on, and for what it's worth, it hasn't. Oh no, it has. It did touch back down to 230 here as support before it ended up launching back up higher. So listen, right now it's kind of at a point of consolidation. There's a 25,000 share order on the ask at 250. You would have to worry about first before there's any chance of this stock moving up higher. So again, I'm not as like interested in this stock just yet. Maybe I'll come back to it at the end. Kind of do a little cherry pick at the end of it all, just across the ones I'll kind of brush on the side. SDPI, ended up making a nice push earlier. Same thing. Now, these aren't the ones that we ended up shorting from earlier today, but a couple of the other ones that were on the morning watch list, that were on the pre-market watch list, we ended up doing pretty well on those stocks, more on the way down than on the way up. REI is shortable and dropping off, at least from earlier, but this one we ended up taking advantage of on the way up more so. Ring Energy ended up making a nice push from like 335 as it broke high of the day here, ended up running up just about 40-50 cents up, ended up pulling back down. Right now I feel like it's at a point of exhaustion there. If it's not at the highs of the day right now, or as we go over to the losers list respectively, the lows of the day, then I'm not going to be nearly as interested in it. All right, so we keep it going. SALM here. Ooh, this one just kind of jumped over. ADVM, SALM. I just want to check these out pretty quick. The ADVM I want to go back on. I'm sorry. ADVM was one of the stocks that we ended up putting on the pre-market watch list early on this morning, and at least Fausto put it on the morning watch list too, but ended up making a nice push up once the market opened up. I mean, well, first to bounce from like 235 up to 250, but again, it ended up pulling back down. Right now, the only issue on this trade, just that it's too flat. This stock, unlike one of the other ones that we were watching at least earlier today, and one that will likely, continue to put back on our list here, the AMPY, this one's really flat right now, so it's just not worth the time. So now we're back to VTNR. VTNR is already on our list. I mean, for right now, I guess you could say kind of building even a pennant over the last 3-4 bars. Kind of squeezing in sideways here. This might make a pullback down to 6 first. If not, and hopefully not, then it'll make the pop back up, and hopefully from there we'll find like a nice iceberg order on the bid. All right, so I'll tell you what, I say this all the time. If you're joining us today on YouTube for the first time, well, listen, with the markets at the lows right now, I wouldn't expect for there to be a whole lot on the gainers side, right? So hop over to the losers list. In fact, inverse ETF that follows the NASDAQ 100 SQQQ, it's up 7+%, number 44 gainer across all markets and indices right now. So we'll hop over to the loser side here, the AMPY. This thing has just been an absolute moneymaker today, and more on the short side. So, I guess this one wasn't on the gainer side to start the day. Obviously, it got clobbered early on in pre-market, but ended up making a nice push early on, nice dead cat bounce shortly after the market opened up. Pop from like 250, 245-ish, all the way up towards just about 350, 360. And then obviously, as you could see right now, it is shortable, easy to borrow on my platform. Hopefully it is on yours. But nonetheless, we've been calling this out as much as a short, as much as we have, from the market open as a long. So this stock is really nice right now as a short heading into the afternoon. For right now, it is at a pretty key support. So I'm going to hang on to the last part of the trade that I'm in right now. But I was commenting on this stock heading into this meeting really for the last like 2 hours. It took long enough for it to get to where it's at right now. But, I was watching this more on the short side than the long side myself, although, more of us were on it out the gate at the market open as a long. But, it ended up dropping off pretty nicely from where I jumped in from at 335. Then from that point, I ended up scaling out at 302. And for right now, I'm going to hang on to this here, but it seems like it's going to be at a support level coming up around 280, maybe 275 if it breaks that. All right, so the AMPY stock definitely put on our list. This ITUP stock not doing much there. PALT, former gainer. The PROG trade got crushed off bad news really quickly. We'll just jump to that. We're not going to put it on our list or anything, but PROG ended up making a nice push earlier on today. It was on the gainer side to start the day off. Ended up making a nice push up early on, broke over 2 later on, going into the early parts of the afternoon. And just when things were about to look good, it's beginning to push back up, and then big drop. So news came out, I think it was with a common stock offering or direct offering of shares priced at 150. So we're not going to put this on our list right now, but maybe tomorrow, maybe Wednesday this week, we'll make a comeback, hopefully, if that. And if not, then listen, this isn't a swing trade here. This is more of a day trade than anything, but definitely not for this afternoon. All right. We'll keep it going here, folks. TAL at the low of the day with the market perhaps dropping off. And I don't know what the China markets are looking like right now. I think Yin's the ETF that I normally look at. Yeah, not a whole lot happening there, although it bounced up from earlier in the morning. And not even a whole lot here. I guess, really, there's a whole lot that's down. Just you kind of expand this list. Let's go to 100. Let's see if there's any familiar names here. RLX, kind of familiar. It is breaking all-time lows, I think. A little slow, though. Maybe shortable. ATER. Not a whole lot happening there. Go. Not trading a whole lot of volume per minute. That's my issue on it. Otherwise, I'd say like great chart, great order book, just trading no volume. So I'd be shocked if it ends up making like a really great move from this point forward into the close. But maybe just want to kind of study the chart just to see what happens at a stock. Like this, that's near the lows here. Markets are near the lows right now too. But with a stock like this at the lows heading into the afternoon, what typically happens? Wish, not a whole lot happening here. It is breaking all-time lows as well, but just really slow. And that's it, folks. That's all I got here, at least, unless if there's anything that I completely missed or anything that's up or made a pop or drop or anything in between. Let me know here in the chat board. Got 3 stocks so far. That's it. Maybe the ARIC, maybe the MXC stock. Later calling out Gree inside our live trading room. Yeah, definitely. Oh, yeah, big time. I don't know. I guess that was climbing up the gainers list as we were going from top to bottom and then over to the loser side. But, yeah, great call. I wish the liquidity was better on the order book. That's for sure. I mean, really big spread, really thin volume out there across the bid and the ask. But, I mean, hell of a pop right now. I don't know what's going on with it. All right, going to flat my gums for about 5 minutes on Bitcoin, and then I'll jump to it one more time on Benzinga Pro, see if there's anything. But otherwise, I think we're just about good here. Let me just jump to Bitcoin here pretty quick. I mean, not a whole lot really happened over the weekend up until probably really last couple hours. All right, so I find this to be important because we're going to jump back, and hopefully there are a couple of stocks additionally that we'll jump to that we'll put on our list. Because just thinking about it right now, I mean, we have Bitcoin right now that's making a pretty strong push. So here's the hourly chart. This vertical thin line represents just the last time that we were here back on Friday at 2:30 Eastern time. So as you can see, not a whole lot happened. Little pop, little drop afterwards, but up until the last couple of hours, we ended up getting a nice pop, right? So ended up making a stronger push over 49. It looks to be on the way up to 50. And I'd said this about like a week and a half ago, before this push, certainly. But it's to say that, on the next run up, I think that we're going to get a really nice breakout where it just, completely runs over 50, makes the push up to 55, perhaps 60 even. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean, I've been wrong at times on certain things, and I would have no problem with being wrong with that. But I mean, hey, if we're gonna get to 135 or 100,000, even, let alone that, maybe even 75,000, 80,000, well, we got to get up to 50, 55 first, right? So we got to do that at some point in time before December. So, I think for all the flirting we've been doing with 50 and whatnot over the last few months, just, if not then why not now? So we'll see. But here right now, we'll kind of just take a quick look at a couple of the others, like Ethereum, Cardano, more on the Ethereum and Cardano to Bitcoin charts. But here's Ethereum to USD. You can see holding over the 100 EMA on the hourly chart. I think that's going to begin to pull back over time. I think we might happen to see a small drop before the real launch. But otherwise, if not, then again, Ethereum itself holding over the 100 EMA on the hourly chart and strong bounce from it. So perhaps this could be the beginning of a nice push. And with that, we'll jump to the ETH to BTC chart. You can see it's kind of been holding over, and this is the 6 hour here too, not the hourly, but the 6 hour. I like to use the hourly, the 6 hour, the weekly, but on the 6 hour here, you can see it's been holding over the 500 EMA really nicely. Although it didn't kiss it here, it's just been building the bottom really well. And with the 100 and 200 kind of intertwining, I think it's a matter of time. So, if we happen to get another big push on Ethereum, then I would imagine for this to make a pretty nice run up. And, if all's clear and good to go, then you might see a really nice run on Ethereum first before Bitcoin. Then lastly, Cardano. I mean, this is approaching support coming up on the 500 here. This is on the 6 hour graph too. So this is a pretty key level of support. We'll see what happens, because the last time it was dancing around the 500 here on the 6 hour chart. Once it broke back through that level on the way back up, ended up leading to a really nice rally. So, perhaps this could lead to a new bounce level coming up here. If not, I mean, it's on a really sharp downtrend. So we'll see what happens first. We'll wait for it to kind of crash under it, then kind of react from that point. All right, so I bring that up because at least with Bitcoin pushing up in particular, a couple of stocks that are moving up right now, HUT, mining stock in particular here. So this one's looking pretty nice. I don't know about Riot or Mara, but Riot, let's see, it's up down 2%, trying to make a strong push for right now. I'm not as particular about Riot. It's interesting to see the bounce back up right now, but the HUT trade for sure. It's up 4+%, and BT, not a whole lot happening there just yet. All right, so HUT, we'll put on our watch list for right now. All right, folks. So, hey, I'll tell you, not a bad watch list here to begin. And then if there's anything outside this list in the next 10, 15 minutes that ends up making a big move up or down, either way, we'll look to follow up with it and then try and jump in if there's a good opportunity. All right. For Pat, for all of us today on YouTube only, I appreciate you sticking with me, and I appreciate you sticking with me each and every afternoon if you tend to follow us live daily. But otherwise, if you're ready to join us live inside our trading room, feel more than free to do so by going right down to the link on the banner below just to get yourself started. For all of us there right now, for Bill, Leda, Skip, for Patrick M, and for all of us otherwise, I look forward to speaking to you folks. Come up at 3:30. Take care.